All right, this is the second half of the video with amortization, and now we're going to work on the amortization schedule or the table to go with kind of how this looks like when you pay it off. The one thing you have to remember is banks get their interest first because you have borrowed $20,000, and so you are paying the interest on whatever's left of that $20,000 every single month first. Then after you pay the interest, whatever's left of your payment, that goes to paying off the car or the house or whatever. So at the beginning, which is times 0, your principal is $20,000, because remember the car was a $25,000 car. We paid $5,000 down, and so we actually borrowed $20,000. So how does this work? Well, your payments are fixed, so you can go ahead and write in 368, 33, so 368 and 33. Excuse me, sorry, I still have this cough. And then that one right there. All right, so that's the only thing that's going to stay the same in this whole table. Otherwise, everything's a moving target. Now, interest, we're going to use the formula, I equals PRT. And the reason is because it's kind of like a credit card. You have to figure out your interest every single month because things are changing. And so it's simple interest. But it's a month at a time. So what you do is you take your principal, which is the amount you borrowed, times the interest rate, which is 4%, so 0.04, and then times the time. Now, the time is 1 month, because this is only 1 month. You are paying off 1 month at a time. So you take 20,000 times 0.04, and you can either multiply by a 12 or divide by 12, doesn't matter. And you're going to end up getting $66.67. Now, that's the interest that you owe the bank on the full amount. Okay, so to get the amount off principal, you are going to subtract those two numbers right there, because this is your payment. That's how much you owe the bank for borrowing 20,000. Subtract, and whatever's left over is what you get off your payment. So if you subtract those, you get 301 and 67 cents. Now, that's the amount that's going to come off your principal. And notice principal, how we spell that, A-L, not L-E. Okay, so that's going to come off your principal. So then what you can do is subtract these two numbers to get how much your new principal is going to be going forward, because you're slowly paying off the car. It's just that the bank gets their interest first. So if I subtract those, I get 19,000 and some others. All right, so now this is going forward. The bank, you don't owe the bank the full 20,000 anymore. You owe them this, so they can't charge you interest on 20,000 anymore. They can only charge you interest on this. So going forward, the next month, payment stays the same. That's not a big deal. You still use this formula, but your principal is constantly changing. So now your principal is 19,000. My interest rate is still 4%. And I still take a 12th, because again, we're only doing a month at a time. All right, and this time I get 65, 66. Okay. So again, my interest is slowly going down because I'm slowly paying off my loan. Now again, subtract these two numbers to get how much comes off the principal. This is, you pay the bank this first. Whatever's left over comes off your payment. Okay. So that's the amount of the payment that is left over for you to take money off the principal. So the bank gets their interest, and then they take the rest off what you owe. So subtract these two numbers, and that's your new amount that you owe. Okay. All right. Again, payment stays the same in the next month, but the principal is constantly changing. So this is my new principal. And again, we round to the nearest penny. Still 4% interest. Still a month at a time. So this will always be 1/12 or divide by 12. And this time it's 64, 65. Again, the bank is charging you interest on this moving target. So that's your new interest on that loan. So you get to subtract it from the payment, because the bank's going to take that first, and whatever's left over, they will let you apply to your loan, or kind of try to make your loan go down here. All right, and then to get the new principal, you take the old principal and you subtract how much is actually coming off it from your car payment. And again, it's never the full amount. And so you subtract those two numbers and you get the new one. Okay, and what would happen is you would do this for what? It's a 5-year loan. So this would go all the way to 60. There would be 60 time periods in your loan. And then slowly, eventually, what's going to happen is this column of interest owed is going to get less and less and less and less and less. And then the amount coming off your principal is going to get more and more and more and more, because the bank's going to take their interest at the beginning of your loan and in the middle of your loan. And then as your loan goes down, like the last year of your loan, it's possible that the interest you owe might be $10, $5, because as this goes down, you know, what you owe the bank is less. So they always charge you more interest up front because you owe more up front. As you slowly pay this down, then obviously the interest you owe the bank goes down, and then the amount of this goes up as you go forward with your loan.